Yes, well, the 2023 grid ranking is now underway. And coming into week one, only 3 different drivers have ever led the ranking in week one throughout the grid ranking's 6 seasons. Now, in the 7th season, make that 4 drivers. And for the first time, a driver from Formula One leads the grid ranking in week one. Max Verstappen leads the grid ranking for the first time ever with 2 poles, 2 wins, and 3 podium finishes in the first 3 races, plus an impressive Saudi Arabian Grand Prix going from 15th to 2nd, which earned him additional points. Amanda, Verstappen looks poised to dominate this F1 season. Do you believe anyone can mount a serious challenge to Max for the World Drivers' Championship?
Absolutely, yeah. His teammate. So I think that Checo is obviously, he had a horrible weekend, but ended up with okay results for him. But I think that we know where his head's at, especially after Saudi Arabia. He tweeted in a now deleted tweet, "It was tougher than I thought, but in the end, I'm happy to get my 5th victory in F1. Very happy with the result of the team. We're going to keep pushing hard. I want to be champion," which I think says it all in that where Checo's head's at, and that Max isn't running away with this championship just yet. And if anyone's going to take the fight to him, it'll be his own teammate.
I think that would certainly be the most likely candidate to take the fight to Max Verstappen. I just hope that Red Bull see how dominant their car is and let Sergio fight Max for the World Championship. I hope we keep team orders out of it as much as possible going forward this year. Now let's take a look at the top 10 of the grid ranking. Pato O'Ward only 0.54 away from the lead. Pato could overtake Verstappen with a good day at Long Beach. Marco Bezzecchi and Brody Kostecki are in the top 10 for the first time. Sebastian Ogier is in the top 10 as well, despite not running a full season of WRC. But he has 2 wins in his 2 starts and was the 2021 grid ranking world champion. Then there's Shane Van Gisbergen, the defending champion, and Pascal Wehrlein from Formula E, also up in the top 10. For the first time since 2020, SVG is not in the top 3 after only 2 wins after 6 races, and Brody Kostecki leads SVG in podiums and top 10 finishes. For this season, he had 5 podium finishes in 2021 and 22. This year, 4 podium finishes with a worst finish of 6th place. Kobe, is Kostecki a big surprise, and can he outlast SVG in this long supercar season?
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that by Brody Kostecki, and especially this weekend. I didn't have him winning 1 race, but certainly not 2. I think Brody certainly has a lot of potential, though. Him and his team, Airbus Motorsport, they've made some gains over the years, and they showed us this weekend. When Shane Van Gisbergen is not having an SVG like day, they can truly go out there and contend with the best in the series. Honest. The Chaz Mostert or Cam Waters would have been the biggest competitor to SVG, but no, right now is Brody Kostecki on top right now. But I honestly, looking at the history of Shane Van Gisbergen, knowing how good Red Bull and Paul Racing is, I think it's going to be very hard for him to outlast Shane Van Gisbergen. I think ultimately Van Gisbergen is going to overtake him as we get deeper into the supercar season.
Let's take a look at the full standings for the grid ranking. For the first time, Aston Martin have both of their drivers in the grid ranking. No Ferrari drivers or George Russell at this point. Pecco Bagnaia dropped all the way from 16th, but several MotoGP riders are, of course, dealing with injuries. Only 17 started today. The highest-ranked NASCAR drivers are tied for 17th at the moment. That would be William Byron and Christopher Bell. Byron only has 3 top 10 finishes, but 2 of them are wins. Bell has no wins, but 5 finishes between 3rd and 6th place out of 7 races so far. Matthew, can Byron improve his consistency, and is this a concern for Byron not being able to finish in the top 10 more consistently?
So yes to the first question, second to the no. I think absolutely William Byron can improve on that consistency, like I previously mentioned in this show, actually. If you look at Byron's playoff stretch, which he came around finishing 6th in the standings last season, he finished 8th, 6th, 3rd, 7th, 12th, 16th, 13th, 12th, 7th, and 6th, all in a row. If you have a worst finish of 16 in the top level of NASCAR over the course of a 10-race stretch, that is very, very, very impressive. However, he needs to find that Byron again. Granted, he didn't win during that time, and he's won twice already this season. But the problem is with him, I don't know if he'll be able to keep this up solely because when you look at consistency this season, without a win, it's Christopher Bell. I know they're tied, I believe, but the grid rating would be around like 60 points each. And a lot of that is come from Byron earning 25 points each time he wins, and then obviously finishing up in the top 10 yet again to get to 60. Christopher Bell has earned his points in pretty much 6 of the 7 races this season, or 5 of the 7, I believe. So can Byron improve his consistency? Yes. Is it a concern? Yes. I think it is a concern. I think Bell might push him to the limit. I think Bell might end at least the first couple grid rankings ahead of William Byron. So yes, sorry.
Well, next weekend is a much lighter weekend. It's going to be Easter Sunday, as NASCAR Cup Series will be racing at the Bristol Food City Dirt Race. 9 races this weekend counted towards the grid ranking. Be sure to follow @GridRanking on Twitter and gridranking.com all weekend long.